A couple of days later, since I made the other videos, I'm checking out all the rest of it. I've been thinking about this at work and stuff, because I do this type of thing at work. There's nothing much else to do. The back of my hot press now, there's four pipes. I've traced these pipes coming out, and I've labelled them here on a wee piece of cardboard. But the first pipe is going up here as a boil over. If the water boils over, it goes in there, into that tank. So that's the boil over pipe. The second pipe to come up at the back of the hot press is I think it's 19mm. And that 19mm tank pipe, I don't know why this is. There's two pipes taking water from, this torch is the wrong beam. There's two pipes coming from this black water tank. So this is your drinking water and stuff like that. Not drinking water, hot water for the bathroom and stuff. So now in saying that, the electric shower was put in. So maybe one is for electric shower. But that's the biggest one, the 22mm. It's 22mm, so you think that'd be the first one put in. And that all one's a 19mm. So there's two pipes coming from this black tank. There's only nothing to do with central heating. It's a matter of eliminating them. And then the wee 15mm pipe, that is feeding the central heating overflow tank, feeder tank. And it's also feeding the big tank. It's feeding it here. So that wee 15mm, that's where all the water comes in. So I'm going downstairs now and label these. How do I get out of here? Just before I go down now, that silver one with insulation, that's the one coming from the back bar of the fireplace. And that's for the water to boil over. But it's also, the water would rise up, drop back down that pipe again, and go round through the circuit. So we'll get them down below again. So the water goes round the circle, like the hot water rises and the cooler water drops. And should it boil over, it would then go up this pipe and into the central heating feeder tank. And you can't have scalding water hitting you in the head and outside. So it boils over, hits the cold water in there. That wee tank then overflows, and it goes down that overflow pipe out to the street. Now if you kept it overflowing, you would have boiling water skitting out of there after 10-20 minutes. But by that time you normally stop your fire. You hear the fire boiling away like. But this other one here now, that's did I decide what that one was? I had decided what it was, but I know what it is now. Getting confused because there's three pipes. That pipe in the back, that's the feeder pipe that's putting the water into this here. So that goes to the bulk cock. Whenever the water boils over here, you need cold water to go back into the system again. The cold water comes out of that tank and goes back down there. Or if, let's say like now there's a leak, because there's a leak, that's why my central heating's filling up again. If I was to stop the water going down there, the leak would stop. But it means I can't use my oil heating, which is why I have to let the boiler leak away. So that's doing the oil heating and the coal fire both. And they're going down there. So we're back in the hot press now. I'm starting to label these. And I'm putting wee arrows on the way the water goes. So I'm getting the hang of this now. We're back in the hot press now. So these are the four pipes that's up in the attic. The first one, the hot water comes out of the top of the cistern. Hot water pipe out. That hot water now goes down to my bath taps and kitchen taps. But the pipe also carries on up to the top of the attic, where it comes out, and that goes into the overflow. So if it boils over, the first one's the boil over pipe. But it also says, shares this pipe of feeding the water to the bath and stuff. This phone or torch, I don't know which one it is. The second pipe then, so there's the second pipe coming down now. See there, it's clamps on it. The second pipe coming down. That there is a cold water fill from the attic. But it goes down there, it's not going to the central heating. So that first cold water is now going to the bath and the bathroom sink. So it's nothing to do with central heating. That's just ordinary cold water from the tank. The third wee pipe here now, that's the one that fills up the system. It fills up the central heating feeder tank, and it fills up the big black tank for the bath, for the cold water. And this big pipe here now coming down here, that's coming from the big black tank, and it feeds this central heating. So that water there is the water that goes into the bath. That if you run a bath, that's the water comes from there. So that's putting cold water in. The central heating pipes then is heating that water up in there. But now the whole idea of this here, we need to find out which pipes are for the back boiler. So if it all worked out now except for one pipe. So over here now, this is the central heating pipes down the bottom. We'll go now to the oil. If I turn the oil on, the hot water from the oil comes up. No, it comes up this pipe here. No, it comes up this pipe. It comes up this pipe here. Forget about that's a non-return valve, so it can't go get into the pump. So it's going to come up here. It's going to go up that wee pipe there. It goes in now to the coil of the tank, and that coil goes round and round and round and round. And the coil comes back out here. So when the coil comes back out here, the water now goes down that wee pipe and goes on then to the next radiator or whatever it is. But now there's the complicated bit. That's my oil heating. But it's also this pipe here. I don't know what that pipe is. I put a question mark on it. Why does that pipe have to be there? Why does the oil have to be linked to the coal fire? And that's a bit that baffles me. Because if I could just disconnect that pipe there now, we're close to disconnecting the coal. How long we see now? So now from this side here now, I have to work out why that goes in there right enough. Boil over pipe. So the hot water is coming. The hot water comes from the coal fire from here. So that's coming from the coal fire and gets pumped around the system. Do you know why it comes from the coal fire? That allows the coal fire now not only to run, because that's where it's going wrong. The coal fire also heats the radiators and the hot water. So for it to heat the hot water, the coal fire has to tie in to the oil heating so it can go up and go around the same coil. There's only one coil in there, and that's where the link's made there. So that's the return. I think the light bulb was just hit. I need to cut that pipe. When I cut that pipe, the return goes back to the radiators and cannot get to the boiler. And that leaves all this redundant. So I could screw that off there, cut that pipe there. Why does it go into the tank there? I'm going to watch a YouTube video to see what these two connectors are. I don't know what them two connectors are. Boil over pipe. So I'll not have to work that out. Why is it connected into the cylinder there? Is there a second coil? I doubt it. So that's a wee bit I need to question out there. See, the wee tap there is to drain the whole system. But the water's going back to the boiler here. So if I was to cut that pipe there now and cap that off, that'll stop the water going to the boiler. If I left everything else intact, it can boil over and all the rest. Everything else can do what it wants to do. But if I cut this pipe here, that'll disconnect the boiler. And that is disconnected now because of that. But I'm going to check YouTube now to see inside the cylinder to see what them two's about there. Because if hot water is going that way now, that heats. Because when I had the coal fire lit, it heats the hot water and the radiators at the same time. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It heats the hot water. It only heats the radiators whenever that thermostat turns it on. So when the fire first lights, the fire first lights, the hot water has to rise up here. The hot water can't get up that way. So them's the bigger pipes there. You think that's the central heating, the fire. So hold on now. That's a boil over pipe there. That one there's a cold water feed. So that's cold water feed. So there's cold water feeding into the system there. So that's, the water's definitely going that way. So if the flame boils over, hot water comes down from the attic, down that wee 15 or 12 millimeter, I don't know what size it is, small pipe. It comes down that way. It can also feed this big tank if need be. And it goes on down then into the central heating. The hot water comes up from the central heating and goes through that pump. But that pump only comes on when the water reaches a certain temperature. That's the radiators. How does the water get to the tank? So we've got a boil over pipe. There's 2 pipes there. I need to work out now how the water gets to heat the water up in the tank. I'm getting closer. So I'll leave that for tonight now, and I want to get a diagram off inside a water cylinder, see if it says what the coils are doing. They wouldn't have 2 coils, would they? It'd be handy if there was a label to tell you, like, oh no, that'd be too handy, that. I don't think there's 2 coils. And if it is, I'm not 100% sure. If it was 2 coils, then hot water couldn't come out of the bottom. I need to work on that one. So I've worked out all the oil center heating. I've worked out all the water pipes, but the ones I still need worked out is the coal fire boiler. I'm getting closer. Just come into my living room and noticed now that this back boiler has stopped dripping. There's no water getting into the boiler no more. The boiler is water free. That's completely dry now. So all I've turned off, why is it going to focus us here? All I have turned off, I took it Sunday it leaked. This is Wednesday. It was still leaking this morning, so it was. But I was to knock this fireplace down, but I'll tell you the problem I'm having here. Now, if that boiler is not getting no water, I can drill holes in it and get the last of the water out of it. And if I drill holes in it and get the last of the water out of it, I can still burn stuff in there. It's not going to heat the radiators. But I've decided now I'm going to start renovating my house this year. Now that this hassle started, I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to start shortly. I'm going to get windows and all priced up. I'm going to move the kitchen into the bedroom. I'm going to build it on this week. So it's happening this year. And that's going to leave me with a lot of wood. And dump wood's a hassle. So even if I don't get hot water, if I can just burn the wood in there, to save me having to carry it away in the skip. So that's good news there, but I still rather with the pipes is disconnected before I light a fire. But a wee bit of thinking to do here. But at least that gives me time. The fact that water stopped coming out gives me time. But that 3 days, what, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 60 hours. It took 60 hours for that leak to stop. Now, although that leak stopped, the leak's in the top of the tank. That back boiler's still full of water. You couldn't light it. And said now, if you light it, it will still go out the overflow pipe. But it's not a good idea to light. If you light a back boiler and water in it and it can't get out, it'll blow the house down. Now, the only thing is, like I said, the breather pipe's still there. But there's no coal. You have to draw a hole and get the water completely out before you attempt to light a fire. Make sure it's empty. I think I'm to knock this chimney down. What I'm going to do, we had a catcher, wet and dry hoover. It's broke now. I'm going to get a new catcher hoover. So I like getting things in seals. So I'll keep an eye out now. I'm going to get a hose pipe, go up on the roof, and I'm going to squirt water down that chimney. No point in brushing it with a chimney brush. You just have soot over the whole house when you go and knock it down. But if I wet it, wet soot won't go all over the house. I'm more worried about the attic and all. You don't want soot all over the fiberglass. That'll be a right mess up there for years. So I thought, well, by wetting it, put a wet and dry hoover down here and just squirt the hose down. And I'll wash some soot down, and what soot's left won't cause any dust. So I'm going to get fed now and go down and get Luna. I haven't even got wee Luna yet. I'm just back from my work. And I came in and I went up the attic to check if the bird was there. Make sure the bird was gone. The wee bird was in there the last day. The wee bird's gone. So that's why I went up the attic, and then I just thought, well, I was thinking about today at work. So 90% the way there. I'm working this out. Well, I'm going down to the roof. How can I stand? Oh, the bird on here, for fuck's sake! Fuck me, like, that's like the bird movie. I hope he can get back out again. I know stallions go into the top of roofs. I didn't know they came into actually attics. If Luna sees that, it could be like something like Benny Hill, like, out chasing it around the house.